Politicians and lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host. Joining me as always are the political junkies, Mega Jesse. How you doing there, buddy?
Yep, good to be here. Got a lot to get into, so yeah, good to be here.
And Mr. Straight Lace himself, William Beck. How you doing?
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah,
good topic today.
Lots of topics, but the first one I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. Reading your comments, let us know where you're watching. Tell us what you're thinking as you watch this press conference that's going to be breaking live. Justin, you want to pull up this window here real quick just so I don't miss it? We're going to go to breaking coverage in Winona. The police department's going to be doing a press conference. We're going to learn all about this arrest here. So reading your comments is Bridget Williams. How you doing, Bridget?
I'm doing fabulous actually today. Feeling much better.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
A little under the weather the other day, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the air quality.
For sure.
And Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson, running the dials and bringing this live coverage to us, which is pretty cool. You know, we almost thought about going down there with ourselves with the truck, but we had to do this show, and I wanted to bring this to you live. So anyhow, it looks like there's planning on doing this at 1 o'clock. So let me just read a statement here. David Kingsbury, Maddi's father. And if you don't remember this, I think a lot of our audience remembers the story we broke. We didn't break, but we had the aunt and uncle of Maddi in studio, big fans of our show and known Carmel and Tim for quite some time. So they kind of gave that personal element. I actually helped out with the search during Easter weekend, but I've never met David Kingsbury. So David Kingsbury is married to Carmel's sister. And so this is from David Kingsbury. We got a weird thing on our TV screen right now there, Dawson. Are we still doing just fine? Yeah. We're fine. Okay, so I'm going to read this. It says, "We're relieved that Madeline has been found after months of intensive searching and grateful for the extraordinary efforts by law enforcement, other first responders, and volunteers. We're certain that the correct person has been arrested, will be appropriately charged and convicted of his crimes. Things are moving in the right direction there, and we look forward to getting justice for Madeline. For right now, we will mourn as a family and properly and respectfully lay her to rest." So this is the interesting thing about this case. Is that on my end, the TV here, Dawson?
I don't know. Once the thing starts, then I'll go and check it out.
Okay,
quick.
yeah, I got some weird thing on my TV here, so I'm just going to restart this. Because otherwise, I can't watch the press
Yeah, I'm
conference.
looking at the live stream. It looks like it's just on us.
Just on our
So
end. Okay.
yeah.
Hopefully you guys don't have any problems. Put in the comment section if we are having problems. We're trying to do a lot of things today, but I think our studio is equipped to make this work. So anyhow, what's really interesting about this, and I found out about this last night. I was texting with Carmel. It's just like, what do you say here? Like, it's not like you're happy, right? You're not happy that she's found, but you kind of are in a sense relieved, right? Because it's bad if you can't, if you never find her. That's like got to be the worst thing possible. So I think it's like a somber joy. Is that am I going crazy by saying something like that? Relieved? Maybe that's just the right way to put it, but relieved that at least she's been found. And then in this case, everyone kind of suspected it was Adam Fravel. So at this case, maybe, just maybe, we're going to get justice.
Situation. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, now justice can be, if Adam was the culprit here, justice can be served, which I'm sure the family's very thankful for.
Gotcha. God, I don't know what happened to our TV, Dawson. What's the status on the live?
We look like we're still live. So
No, we definitely are. It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's something wrong with this TV all of a sudden.
It's still nobody's talking yet. I'm gonna have to get under the desk and check out some stuff. So
Yeah, it says
keep
no
talking.
signal detected. So I'm just going to fill his time here. I just hope we don't miss this press conference. The press conference hasn't started, right, Dawson?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see your video here. So
Gotcha.
We're good.
Tucker had the right word for its closure, which is so. I think that's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that was hard to find. I guess closure. But I'm just saying, like, you kind of want to be, I just hate to say it, like, happy, because the closure is somewhat comforting. Okay? So there we go. Comforting, right? And I think the family was well aware that there was just not going to be a good outcome. She went missing March 29th. And
I think
here we
it
are.
was the 31st.
What's that?
I think it was the 31st.
Was it 31st?
That's what all the
Into
publications
March.
were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, here you go, Dawson. Throw the remote over here. And we got a TV in our studio, and for some reason, all of a sudden, the input went away. So now we're without being able to see. Oh, it looks like we got the screen back, Dawson. See? That's why we call him Deep State Dawson.
Just walks by the TV.
I know. That's the funny thing is, like, sometimes I'll turn on a TV or turn off a computer, and then someone's like, holy cow, this guy's got jujitsu. And it's like, no, I just got lucky. For whatever reason, that just did it. So
I like
Dawson's
to
got
think
that
that I
same
just
magic
scare
touch.
the technology into working.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we couldn't do this without Dawson. so appreciative of him. All right, here we go. So we're still waiting. Finally, I got this. Sorry for this terrible broadcast here with technological problems. What would
Terrible
be
broadcast. This is the best broadcast.
Well, there you go.
Maybe ever.
That's good spin. I just feel like I'm off my game by not having this all working properly. And that's just the thing. You know, I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast once, and they don't do it live anymore. They used to do it. And then all of a sudden, like, it just, everything went kaput. It's like, that's like the largest podcast in the world. And even they have technological problems. Jamie's a wizard, but you just, sometimes whatever reason, things don't work.
Well, what's our excuse for when things go wrong on the show? It's a hang.
It's a hang. There you go.
It's casual. It's laid back. It's a hang.
I know, and usually it wouldn't bother me so much, but I think a lot of people are tuning in. They're very curious of what's going to come out of this press conference. What we know at this point, and I'm going to read this. You can go to actionforliberty.com, and you could read the story. Kingsbury's ex-boyfriend arrested on suspicion of murder. And this is from Winona Police Department. And this is why we're so interested in this press conference, because this is all we know right now. But according to the Winona Police Department, this is like 7 o'clock-ish last night. A Fillmore County deputy found human remains on Wednesday afternoon north of Mabel, Minnesota. Mabel, Minnesota, far southern part of Minnesota. Like, basically, if you go down to Winona, which is already south, and you go, like, due south down to the border of Iowa, that's where Mabel, Minnesota is. And that's where the Fravel family's from. So a body was found in some brush off of Highway 43 and was located using information generated during the Maddi Kingsbury investigation. Because of this, law enforcement personnel have arrested Adam Fravel on probable cause in connection to her disappearance. Now, I've seen the charges right now are second-degree murder. You would think that this is going to get up to murder one. I think this was all premeditated. At least that's what we assume to believe by what we see. But that just must mean they're lacking evidence. Maybe there needs to be an autopsy to up the charges. But right now, he's booked for second-degree murder. Numerous members of the Winona Police Department, the Winona County Sheriff's Office, the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office, the Southeast Minnesota Violent Crimes Enforcement Team, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and crime scene personnel, and the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office are working as quickly as possible to positively identify the remains. We're asking that community to respect the family's privacy at this time and not to speculate on the case until further information is made available. We will share an update tomorrow once we have more information confirmed. And then they tell the media that there's a news conference planned for today. So this was once again 7-ish last night. And then we learned this morning that's going to be 1 p.m. We're like, oh, wow, that's just during our show. So we'll go live to this press conference as soon as it starts.
I do think it's funny they ask people not to speculate, and then we kind of open the show kind of talking about what might have happened.
Well, I thought about that in my head, William, and how dare you, because we're not
I'm glad you're
speculating.
thinking in
we
your head,
are
Jake.
waiting,
And-
before we speculate, we are waiting for the press conference, because I think that's a fair point. So I know Carmel and Tim, right? So I read the family statement, okay? David Kingsbury literally says, we're relieved that Madeline has been found after months of intensive search and grateful for the extraordinary efforts by law enforcement, other first responders, and volunteers. We're certain that the correct person has been arrested, will be appropriately charged and convicted of his crimes. Things are moving in the right direction there, and we look forward to getting justice for Madeline. For right now, we will mourn as a family and properly and respectfully lay her to rest. Okay? So how dare you, William? I am not speculating. I am reading the statement by them, but I think everyone looks at this thing. Adam Fravel was the last person to see Madeline on that date. There was a minivan that matches that description that was heading to Mabel, Minnesota that day, at least south of Rushford. That's what they confirmed. Looks like we got some official people coming in.
I'm going to put on a little bit of audio for background
And then
noise.
we're just going to shut up too, by the way. Once this press conference happens, you don't need to hear from us. We'll stay live and then we'll comment after the fact. But there's nothing that we're gonna... Okay, go ahead. Let's go break to this story here.
Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm Bonnie Bowman. I'm a public information officer for the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We have been assisting the Winona Police Department in investigating this case. Today you'll hear from Winona Police Chief Tom Williams, Fillmore County Sheriff John DeGeorge, and BCA Special Agent in Charge Michelle Fresconi. We will have time for questions after they give their prepared remarks. However, I do want to let you know that as of today, we will not be able to comment on any charges or charging decisions. That is something we'll be able to discuss at a later date, but that is not something we will comment on today. I appreciate you respecting that and also respecting the family as we continue moving through this process. At this time, I'm going to invite up Chief Williams.
Good afternoon. I'm Winona Police Chief Tom Williams. We are here today to announce that human remains were found yesterday in Fillmore County. This morning, the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office performed an autopsy. Law enforcement has confirmed the remains are those of Maddi Kingsbury. Unfortunately, while this discovery is not what we were hoping for, we are thankful to be able to bring Maddi home to her family. Her body was found by a Fillmore County investigator on a remote stretch of road off Highway 43 north of Mabel at approximately 1:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Digital evidence collected by investigators led us to this area. It should be noted that the location of Maddi's body was off a low-maintenance public roadway and was not property owned by the Fravel family or any of their relatives. The area had been previously searched, but Maddi's body was covered and concealed in such a manner that she was not visible. To say the least, the last 69 days have been frustrating, full of heartache and pain for the family, law enforcement, and the community. But during this time, the family never gave up. Law enforcement never gave up. The community never gave up. We want to recognize that the support from volunteers, public safety professionals, and all the media outlets were instrumental in keeping the blue light shining in order to bring Maddi home. We have said that we will hold anyone involved in Madeline's disappearance accountable, and we are here to tell you that we will hold steadfast on that commitment. We are asking everyone to respect the family's privacy and allow them the time to grieve and mourn the loss of Maddi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John DeGeorge. I'm the Fillmore County Sheriff. On behalf of the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office, we offer our deepest condolences to the family of Maddi Kingsbury. As Chief Williams stated, this is not the outcome we had hoped for, but we are grateful to help bring the search for Maddi to a close. After the conclusion of the large-scale searches led by law enforcement, Fillmore County Sheriff's Office investigators and deputies have continued to search specific areas and follow up on investigative leads on a daily basis. Hundreds of tips have come in to our team from many different sources, and each one of them was thoroughly explored. We are thankful for the partnership and the professionalism of the Winona Police Department, the Winona County Sheriff's Office, the Minnesota BCA, and all of the other supporting agencies. I am proud of our team of investigators and deputies who have kept focus and stayed committed and determined throughout this investigation. Our focus now is to continue to assist the Winona Police Department with every resource available to us to ensure that an accurate and complete investigation is prepared. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Frasco, and I'm the Special Agent in charge at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We want to express our gratitude for the incredible partnership that has been allowed by this team to successfully find Maddi. The Winona Police Department invited the BCA to help with this case from day one. And since that, every homicide agent throughout the state has helped investigate this case. We want to also acknowledge that the forensic scientists and the analysts who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes through mountains of evidence to generate leads. We are grateful for the more than 450 tips that have been sent to us. Law enforcement had evaluated each one of them and followed up in as many leads as possible. It's this kind of collaborative effort that brought us here today, able to bring closure to Maddi's family. Thank you.
And that concludes our prepared remarks. I'd like to open it up for questions.
Would there have been enough evidence to arrest Adam Fravel if Maddi's body had not been found?
Unfortunately, I can't comment to that aspect. That would be a charging decision by the prosecution.
Where was Adam arrested, and were he arrested without incident?
Adam was arrested at a residence in Mabel, and yes, he was arrested without incident.
What led to Adam's arrest? Why was he arrested in this case?
It was a probable cause arrest that we felt that we had enough evidence to make a probable cause referral.
Can you tell us any more about that?
Not at this time.
Do you believe that Maddi's body was in the same place this entire time, or had it potentially been moved at some point?
I can't comment on that.
Do you have a preliminary cause of death?
Not at this time. That was one of the reasons for the delay.
Are there any other questions?
Can you tell us more about the digital evidence that led you there?
We actually, to be specific on the digital evidence, no, we've had mountains of digital evidence that's related to phone data as well as computer data.
Do you think the crime occurred in Winona County or Fillmore County?
I can't comment on that. That'll be a charging decision by the prosecution.
And why second-degree murder and not first-degree murder?
Again, I can't comment on charging decisions. As Bonnie had stated early on, we will not comment on any charging decisions.
Do you believe anybody has helped Adam Fravel?
Still under investigation, and I'm not willing to comment on that.
Can you describe what concealed and covered means?
She was in a wooded area off of a gravel road. That's all I'm prepared to say.
You said that there was a delay in cause and manner of death. Are they able to determine that?
Again, I can't comment on that. That would have to come from the medical examiner's office.
You said Maddi's body was found in a public area, but you mentioned that it was not found on any land owned by Fravel or his relatives. How close is Fravel's property or Fravel's relatives' property to where Maddi was found?
The Fravel property is within the same area of Fillmore County. I would say within several minutes of where this is, and I think that's about as specific as we want to get.
And can you just reiterate how the body was found yesterday afternoon?
An investigator was following up on a tip related to electronic evidence, and checked the area and located Madeline's body.
Could you describe the previous searches that had taken place there, how thoroughly that area had been looked at?
Specifically, I can't tell you how thoroughly that area has been looked at. What I can tell you is that we have searched with volunteer teams and with law enforcement in that general area, as well as most of the rest of that part of the county. But as indicated earlier, there were efforts made to conceal the location of the body, and it was not visible from the roadway.
Was it something that you could walk right by by this and not see it if there had been searchers there? Was it something that required very close inspection?
I don't think that we're prepared to comment on that right now.
Sheriff, we've talked to some of you up there about the emotional toll this has been on all of law enforcement. Could you talk about that moment yesterday around 1:30 when your deputy called in what they had discovered? What was that moment like for all of you?
Well, our focus always remains on the job at hand. So our focus is always going to be, and was in that case, what do we need to do next? We certainly recognize that this is emotional, and it is for us as well as everyone else, but priority number one is we've got a job to do and maintain professionalism.
You mentioned that the remains were found at 1:30. What time was Adam Fravel arrested?
I think he was arrested, I would say, later in the afternoon. I don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry, Chief?
5:20.
5:20.
By police officers or sheriffs?
Sheriff's deputies.
What was his demeanor like when you took him into custody?
I don't think we're prepared to comment on that right now. It went without incident.
Was the deputy alone, or was this part of any kind of group?
No, the deputy was not alone.
Who was he with?
He was with other deputies.
How many?
To clarify, do you mean during the arrest or during the search?
I'm sorry, during the search.
During the search, during the search, the investigator that found Maddi was by himself.
A few weeks ago, a special prosecutor was brought in to kind of help with this case. What's his role going to be moving forward?
Good question.
Again, the response on that is relating to anything with the prosecution is that we are not prepared to comment on that at this time.
And how has this case affected law enforcement with such high emotions in town?
As Sheriff DeGeorge said, it's taken a lot of effort by everybody, and not just law enforcement, but volunteers as well. We know what the task at hand is. We know that we have a job to do. Everybody stepped up, and we did what we were required to do, and we will continue to do that through the trial stage of this as well.
Was this the biggest mass search in most of your all's careers? Can you kind of just comment on the scope of the last couple months here?
In my career, I do not recall a search of this magnitude. We had probably in excess of 2,000 searchers after the initial weekend where the volunteers came out, which was coordinated by Winona County Emergency Management Director Ben Klinger in coordination with other emergency management directors. But in my 36 years in law enforcement, this has been one of the largest searches that I've ever been a part of.
I know you received a lot of tips. Were there tips that ultimately were helpful in finding what you needed to find?
I can't comment on that at this stage.
And what is next in this case?
We have to continue to follow up on all of the evidence that we have collected to date, as well as evidence that was collected yesterday. And we still have to review all witness statements and wait for the results from the medical examiner's office to see if there's any further follow-up from that office as well.
So what happens with Madeline's two children who gains custody?
That would be a child protection Winona County venue, and I'm not prepared to speak to that.
Is the delay with the medical examiner also leading to the delay in the charging decision? Or does that fall under charging?
That falls under charging.
Has Fravel talked with law enforcement, or is he doing
I'm not prepared to speak to that. It's still an active and ongoing investigation.
We have time for a couple more.
I know there are a lot of long hours and many agencies helping with this to date. Does that change at all going forward?
We still are dedicated, as Sheriff DeGeorge mentioned, all agencies are dedicated to continue to do what it needs to do to bring this to a successful conclusion.
One more?
Will the benefit being held for Maddi still continue this weekend?
That's the family said
Yes.
yes. Oh, the family says
Okay.
yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Also, just to clarify, the reason we are not prepared to comment on charging decisions is not in an effort to conceal anything. It's because our primary focus is to protect this case and protect the prosecution. And so that is the reason we are not prepared today to speak on any charging decisions or any information related to that. I just wanted to be clear as to our motivations for not sharing any of that information. Thank you again all for being here today. We appreciate your continued coverage and support as we work through this case. Everyone behind me, BCA, the local police, and the local county sheriffs are all here to the end of this case. Thank you.
And we understand obviously why they do that. Don't need the clarification. I think everyone's smart enough in the room to understand you don't want to poison this case for sure. And here we'll do some speculation, but we're not in charge of the case, obviously, so we can draw on conclusions. But I don't understand why cut off questions. I mean, the public at large has the right to know, them to give us more time to give us any facts they can without poisoning the case. I don't understand why they got to cut off. It's not like
I don't really feel like a cut off question.
Well, she said we got time for one or two more questions. Like you got time for
right.
a lot of questions.
I mean,
69 days,
The questions kind of got less and less creative towards the end there, so I think they're getting to a lull anyway.
Well, I had one question that I was very curious on, and I don't think it would poison the case, is where off of Highway 43 was the body found?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and we're going to pull up a map. We're going to show you this area. We got a map already.
Yep.
I searched areas. I didn't get down to this part, but, I was checking just by the roads, This is Mabel, Minnesota. Let's zoom out of that real quick, Dawson. So just to give you a perspective, if you go to the top right of this, move up there. Top part of that is basically Winona, Trempealeau, Wisconsin. You see where it says Trempealeau there? That's in Wisconsin. Across the border, just northwest of that is Winona. So that's where Maddi and Adam were living. So that's where, we don't know anything, right? So first of all, it's speculation that he murdered, but that's what he's being charged with, murder too. And then he took the body, or her alive, we don't know that, down Highway 43. So if you take a line that goes southwest from that top of the screen to Rushford, that's Highway 43. Yep, there you go. And then 43 goes pretty much just directly south to Mabel. So now let's zoom in south of Rushford. Yep. So you see this area. This is, if you can find choice on the map, I think it's right there in the middle. That's where I was looking. Okay. Family believed that was a good area to look, and they ended up not being too wrong because it seems to be south of there is where Maddie's body was located. That's what I got from this press conference. Just north of Mabel, not too far from the property that the Fravels either own or manage, because apparently they're property managers. And their property's in Mabel. So let's scroll down just a little bit more, just to give you a perspective. Now you're getting into farmland, right? You see 43 there. Move it over a little bit because our window's in the way. Yep. So if that's 43 there, that is cursor's on, and it keeps going south. And so you see, now zoom in a little bit, Dawson. Pull it back to center it so I can see. I'm getting my. So you're in farmland. You're not getting a lot of trees anymore. Okay. If you keep scrolling down, there is a patch of woods. It's almost like I've been looking at this thing for a while. Right there, patch of woods. It could be most likely private property as well, which, kind of hurts any kind of search by private search parties or even the law enforcement because you need permission to be on people's property. They were asking all property owners to go search their property. If there's a chance that there are seasonal owners of those properties, because I ran into these people when I was out there. There's a really good trout stream outside of Choice. And I ran into a guy that was from the cities, and he just owns property in that area. So maybe they didn't; those property owners didn't even search that property. But if you zoom in on that patch of woods, I'm just kind of curious because just their statement there and the statement previous was almost like as if it was in a pile of brush on the side of the road, and it just feel like because they didn't answer that question, and that probably poisons the case, but. Was the body moved? Was the question that was brought up, and they wouldn't comment on that. And you just kind of wonder how on earth would, if it was right off the road. My assumption is, and I'm just curious, and maybe I'm curious just because all those thousands of people that joined the search and we were unable to find Maddi for 69 days. Was it because it was 100, 200 yards off the road on private property? Is that why? Because it just seems like if it was right off of 43, like in the ditch, it just seems like, how's that possible unless she was moved at some point? And if she was moved, how the hell did that guy do that? I wanted to share something else with you. Let's pull up these pictures. So this is a lady that posted on Facebook.
This is going to take me a second.
Okay, it's going to take a second. This is a lady on Facebook who is helping with a search. Now, she's got, I'm assuming, a bunch of children. She has a van, a bunch of car seats in it. And she must have been searching down in the Mabel area by the Adam Fravel, or the Fravel family property. And Adam Fravel was on an ATV and came up on her van and circled it, making really strange faces, very intimidating, kind of creepy. She had posted the video at the time. The video has been taken down, but we got a couple screenshots. Let's go to her statement first, by the way, so we can add some context to this. So she writes, "It's been a crazy day. I was going to ask for prayers when we went on an organized search for Madeline. There was no cell service, so that didn't happen." And by the way, a lot of that area, no cell service, because we're talking about, especially in the Bluff country, it's kind of hard to get cell service in that area. It's a little more remote. No luck. We went searching other roads in the area and ended up being stalked by the suspicious boyfriend. He followed us, circled our van multiple times, rode up alongside of us, staring at us. He rode behind us, pulling alongside of us to stare at us. I took videos and sent them to the police. So scared, then I got back to our Airbnb. Okay, so these are the photos, or still images of him in the video. And once again, she took down it, but we had screenshots. Can you zoom in on him? Like this is it's a really strange thing. I wish I had the video. A strange look and smile on his face, and doing very intimidating maneuvers around this lady with a van clearly with child seats in it. Very strange behavior.
Are we not going to talk about her brother's toe falling off?
I didn't know if that was a metaphor.
Well, I didn't either. That's why I'm curious.
That's why I ignored it. It's like, is that a metaphor? I don't know that metaphor. You know, like break a leg.
Well, it's just like, and by the way, and yeah.
All right, scroll back. Elephant in the room now. The toe in the room.
I know people.
Look at this.
Curious
So
about that.
he comes up on that van, and this lady, you know, I don't think she had kids in the van, but wow.
He's still on the ATV. It looks
yes,
like based
yeah.
on
I'm
where
sorry.
it's
Great point. He's on the ATV. So in the video, you'll see he's like, he'll come up on the side, and he'll go back, and then he's like trailing her. But this is like him really quickly coming up on the side to look inside the van. It's just so eerie and creepy.
Was she searching where they found Maddie's body, or close to where?
My sense is, so all we could go on is what the police just told us, and that was about, they said a couple miles away from the Fravel property. So I'm assuming that's not the case. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's not the case. But you're still onto something, Bridget. It's that it's
super weird. Like he was nervous.
Yeah, it's within probably 10-mile radius of it.
Yeah, I'd imagine if he's riding an ATV, you know, you don't usually take those out super far, you know. So I don't know. It'd be weird for him to have his ATV, you know, out, like you're saying, outside of 10 miles from his property.
I mean, that wouldn't be crazy up northern Minnesota where you have tons of trails.
Yeah, but even then,
this
still not very often. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. It's like a wild animal that's like protecting something, you know. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough to answer your question, Bridget, obviously, but that is kind of suspicious. All right, go back to the comment from the Facebook post. Damn it, William, you got me on this one.
You guys were curious too, right?
I know. That's why I didn't read it, because when I read it before, I was like, I don't know what that means. So at the very end of this, you're going to have to zoom out. We went back to Airbnb and what does it say there? Get a message from my brother. His toe fell off.
Like, it's just such a weird thing to end it on, and that's not a metaphor.
It has nothing to do with the story, William.
Yeah. Exactly.
How many of you guys how many of you guys at home actually noticed that part? I was trying to purposely not bring that up. I didn't want to like censor the comment. Like, imagine I just blacked that out. It's weird, yes, but is it a like some kind of metaphor for something? I don't know.
We have quite a few comments.
Okay, let's go to your comments.
AM Faith 92.
Before I go, I totally messed up on something. They did say it was a road off of 43, so I incorrectly stated that it was off 43. But still, when we were doing the search, if you go back to that search area, the map there, Dawson, you'll see all these like roads that go off. I mean, I did a lot of these myself, and as I'm driving on 43, you could just see all the search parties out there. So it still seems shocking, even if it was a dirt road that leads off of it. And by the way, the family really believed that was where people should look, so they were right on that. All right, sorry about that, Bridget. Go ahead.
You're good. AM Faith 92 says, I don't think they can release the exact location. I thought he indicated that. It might be important to the evidence in the case.
And I agree. The exact location, fair enough. And they in fact, they even carefully wanted to make sure that they excluded that it was on the Fravel's property or the properties they manage. All I'm saying is just for us that we're part of the search, people that are interested in, maybe the family knows this, we're the only ones that are the most important, but there is a need for the public to know this stuff. Was it just off the road? Like, I'm just kind of curious. That would have been the question. I don't know if they would not have answered that. It's just no one in the press either thought to ask that question and this is why I was just a little upset that they cut it off so quick, William, is because maybe that would have been a question that would have asked. I don't know why they have to cut it short. 69 days and we get a 15-minute press conference or something like that, 20 at best.
I think you were saying this morning. We were kind of wondering like how long this thing would be. Obviously, cops don't want to prolong these cases or the press conferences. Like they want to give the minimum information that they can because they don't want to jeopardize the case.
Exactly, and I'm totally respect not jeopardizing the case. You know, and in fact, it wasn't the cops. There was this lady that's press with BCA that was like calling the shots. This is what politicians do, right? Politicians will go on, and it's usually the handlers that go, no, we only have time for one more question. So it's the same move, you know. But it's
I don't know if the sheriffs would have addressed it, but I think that it would have been interesting if somebody would have asked about the motive, you know, because that's still, not a whole lot of information out about the motive.
Well, and the motive that most of the public are thinking, we'll get back to those comments.
You're good.
I forgot about the comments.
I mean, we're reacting to this live too with you guys. So it's that this guy, Adam Fravel, he's the father of the two children that Maddi had. She is moving on. She's moving out of the house that they're both living in. He doesn't have a job, doesn't work. He's a deadbeat, basically. Then we learned, I think, a couple weeks in that she was dating another guy. Okay. And the cops actually interviewed him, and they dismissed any connection from him. So he probably learned about she's got another guy. She's moving on. She's the breadwinner. I'm not going to see my kids as much. And then we learned a month later that he doesn't even have custodial rights with his children.
Well, and just the day before, he agreed to let the kids stay with Maddi's grandparents in court.
I almost want to go back to what that was about because, I mean, June 7th, yesterday was supposed to be the custody battle in court. I mean, the idea that this monster could have had the children.
Right.
That's so true.
Alleged
Creepy.
monster.
Well, it seemed like
crazy, goofy dude.
Right. They're pretty eager to keep the kids away from him. It sounds like both the county and the grandparents as well.
Yeah, and oh God, I mean, and then you think about his family. Do they want to see the kids as well, like the Fravel family? And like, oh my God. I mean, you heard it from David Kingsbury, the father of Madeline. They believe that the right suspect's been caught, and so I'm just saying, I agree with the family. That's what we all see, and I hope to God they got evidence. All right, let's go to the comments.
Tucker91 says, considering they missed the body in a previous search, I would assume animals may have moved the body, which made it become visible. And
yeah, I guess that's a fair point, you know.
Yeah, bad hat Harry.
And they didn't want to get too much into it, but brush was over it. I was thinking it'd be some abandoned building or something like that. You know, my hope was that I guess my hope was that somehow she was still alive, and I couldn't think of the circumstance, but like I don't even know what the circumstance would be. Like she was afraid of abusiveness, and she figured that her parents would end up with the kids, so she got out so that he couldn't murder. I mean, like that would have been the best case scenario. I couldn't think of another scenario that she would still be living in. So I hate to be so doomed. I think everyone understood that, right? I think the family certainly knew that.
Yeah, I think so. So Bad Hat Harry says they said digital evidence, probably drone imagery. Or phone GPS, Tucker said.
Yeah, I think they're referencing phone data. like metadata gathered like through phone GPS rather.
Oh, that's what you gathered from it. He's saying that like they're flying a drone.
I know. I was replying to Tucker's comment. I think it's more likely because when they say digital evidence, I don't think they mean drone footage. I think they mean like phone data and computer data.
Well, you're the tech expert here, Dawson. What would you think that means?
What was it that they said exactly?
Digital evidence.
Bad out here. They said digital evidence, probably drone imagery.
I think it's more likely
I don't remember what
phone
they said
data.
in the press conference.
Because local sheriffs do have that capability to track people's phones.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can't remember what that program's called.
But
they do.
Weren't you saying that like this area has like no cell reception whatsoever, or like spotty?
Yeah,
at
it's
best?
spotty. Yeah, down there might be a little bit better than when you get in the bluffs.
It's
Honestly,
still useful when it comes back online.
I honestly don't know. I don't. When I hear digital evidence, I don't think of drones, because a drone I don't think would have been able to catch something that someone walking around there could.
Well, and the word digital evidence, wouldn't they use the word footage instead?
Or video.
Video, yeah.
Or they're being very careful what they're saying, like they were.
Yeah, there's probably a reason that we don't really know the answer.
You know, the other question they wouldn't answer is about the special prosecutor. And so if you're not following the cases close, and we just don't talk about this much because, you know, there's little bits here and there, but there really hasn't been anything new until basically, I guess, the custody battle, which we did update you on, but then it's really yesterday. Everything just came together yesterday, right? There's a retired Dakota County prosecutor. I'm pretty sure I got that right, Dakota County, who went down there, either volunteered or was hired for this case. And so that's what they were alluding to. The media was asking about that special prosecutor. So it's very interesting if that prosecutor is helpful in just getting the charge. And then the charge right now is second-degree murder. That's all we know. We don't know why. They obviously, once they started that out and said we're not going to comment on the charges, we're like, oh dang, that's what everyone wants to know, right? Mm-hmm. That and
there could be more charges to come,
and that's what we hope. Is there more charges? We hope there's murder one on this one, right? Mm-hmm. We hope this guy never sees the day of light.
Yeah,
that's true. Kidnapping, I guess. If she was alive, I guess it'd be kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy should never get out if he's guilty of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Let's go to more comments.
Bad Hat Harry added to his comment about the drone. He said if there's no cell service, there's probably no phone data. I didn't even think about that. How would they get phone data if there's no cell service in that area?
I just think there probably is down there. It just I'm saying spotty. Yeah.
Well, and also even when you don't have service or when you don't have a SIM card in your phone, you can still like make emergency calls.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. And then someone said GPS.
I think.
True.
And it's creepy how the government actually can track your phone no matter what. Like, supposedly they can even track it when your phone's off somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly?
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
Can they do that, Deep State?
I have... There's no internal processes going on, so unless there's some sort of, like, weird Chinese-type knockoff phone that you're getting, I don't think that's happening with any...
No, because at least cops say this.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they want to scare you into thinking that you can't do bad stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dover Dan said it's like he knew that he was going to get caught. Maybe that's why he agreed to letting the grandparents have the kids.
I mean, everything I understand of him as an individual, and that's by not a firsthand witness, but by other people's testimony, that would not be in play here. That they really, really liked his boy, which is the younger one, I think 2 years old, and that he really wanted custody, and the family wanted custody.
They probably informed him that they were going to come and arrest him because they said there was no incident or no trouble with officially apprehending him.
When do you think they informed him that?
I don't know.
It is interesting that lines up a day from the custody battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is interesting. Wow. What else we got here?
AM Faith 92 again says, I think crime of passion is considered second-degree murder, not first-degree murder, because it's not premeditated. If he was upset, they could argue it's crime of passion.
Yeah, and this is the thing is I believe from what I've heard that it seems very premeditated. You know, that he's probably had this planned out for a while. And I guess, boy, they're going to really have to get some statements from him. And maybe other, if they had evidence like a notebook or something like that, web searches or something like that, you think they would have already uncovered that at this point? So,
we have a comment from Carmel on Facebook.
Oh, great.
She said he agreed to let the case remain a CHIPS case, but filed for sole custody in family court on Monday.
Okay, so there you go. So he was still trying to keep this thing live.
Okay.
And I'm really sorry to hear about this, Carmel. I mean, once again, it's just like sorry, but you get the closure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you heard the emotions in the room when because there's always that punch you get from when you hear the official authorities say something. I mean, we're all kind of like rubbing some tears off our face here too. It's like we didn't know Maddi. Like the only reason all of Minnesota started caring a little bit about it, but we knew her aunt and uncle, and they're great people. And so it's like, then you start learning about her. You see the videos of her. You're like, holy cow, this is a great person. Caring, great mother, productive, beautiful woman. That's the other travesty. You always want beautiful people on this earth. She was a gorgeous woman and a wonderful singing voice too. Like, she had it all. Why was she dating this guy, this loser? Oh, that's so sad. So, you just kind of wish you could tell somebody something like, don't stay away from that person, And then you just think, well, I don't want to get into it. I think about the kids, and then I just, I lose it there. As a parent, you lose it. So, Brad Ganser, smartphones have a GPS antenna that will work independent of the cell towers. That's true, but I don't know if that works for gathering data. But none of us are experts. We can't speak on that. We are crime experts, apparently, though, right? That's why we got a crime show. I think this story, it's good to see that it's getting coverage today, okay? Because that was one of the reasons we brought it to you. I don't think there was enough people talking about it. I think people originally heard about the case, but it's like, this thing is really puzzling. 69 days. Late March, she goes missing, and then there's almost no updates for 69 days. That's just crazy. And the family, I just can't imagine that. I want to talk about the position, the map, special prosecutor, and talked about custody battle. What are we missing here on this story? And then I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to keep, I assume they're going to do press conferences maybe on a daily basis, but more frequently now, and we'll learn more charging decisions.
Yeah. The only other thing I could think of is we had an article on this at actionforliberty.com, but just by watching this, you have more information than we did then.
Oh, yeah. What else did we have on I'm looking at it right now. Okay, let's go to actionforliberty.com real quick, pull up the article. You can see Adam Fravel's, so that's his mugshot there. And it doesn't look like we used our enhanced one that we have.
I don't know.
No, that's this was produced last night. We wrote this article.
Well, yeah, we have an enhanced one that I can get over to William. He can use that one instead.
Gotcha. And then you wrote in this, a suspicion of murder. We're being a little careful, but it has been confirmed second-degree murder. They did confirm that.
The charge, yep.
Yeah. Well, probable cause of second-degree murder. This is where that, which then begs the question: if it's probable cause, how long can they book them for, right? Because I assume that there's not an actual charge yet, right? I guess that's the case. It's probable cause that there's a charge. Damn.
So he's not actually charged at all.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have like someone that used to be a prosecutor on this one. Sorry, we're not on the fly. We don't know this, but they did say like probable cause. So I'm almost wondering if this guy gets out. Oh my God.
Like on bail.
Well, he can't be arrested without being charged.
Jesse would probably know best of all of us. He was going to go to law school.
Yeah.
Still will, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to shut up on this. I don't know. Okay? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to learn a lot more.
Because I would think it'd be an unlawful detainment if you aren't charged with any kind of crime. But, yeah, we'd have to look into it more.
Nobody's saying the word charged, though. That's the thing. That's a weird
thing.
They
did. They brought that up in the thing with charges of second-degree murder.
Overdan agrees. Okay. He says, I think in order to hold him, that he has to be charged.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's getting charged, but they use the term probable cause. Okay, I'm gonna just shut up because we have zero idea here. This one's a little bit beyond us. No legal experts on this show. Okay. Let's talk about something else here. Let's talk about another tragic thing in our community in Minnesota, which is just unbelievable. There's a drag show in St. Cloud this weekend, Sunday. Okay, holy day, by the way, unless you're Jewish. I guess holy day is Saturday. And Catholics practice after sundown. That's not technically
That's
true.
Jews. Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah, I guess
they're on
I don't
Saturday.
know why I said that. Saturday Mass. Okay, we'll just put it that way. They do Saturday Mass. Anyhow, so this is on Sunday morning up in St. Cloud, and what's unique about this drag show is they're actually, I assume they're trying to lure in young children as young as 4 years old.
Well, you don't assume that, Jake. They literally say 4 to 12 years old on their website.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read there. The graphic team's terrible, which is good.
Can I pause really quick on this story and go back to the previous one?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So Tucker told a guy named Glenn to come on here and comment because Glenn's a lawyer, and Glenn says probable cause means that they have enough evidence for the charge.
Okay. So, like,
but that doesn't mean he's been charged then.
I think it does. If they have enough evidence.
Probable cause means they have enough evidence for the charge. So he has been charged?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so has he actually been arrested then? They made the statement that he was arrested. I think there's a time frame that they can detain someone without the formal charge.
Someone said 24 hours.
Now listen to me say formal charge, so there's like a distinguishment. Well, apparently Glenn knows a lot more than us here, and thank you, Tucker, for looping him in. There's a 24-hour HC for questioning.
Well, then
holding period. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dover Dan says on probable cause, I think they can hold for 72 hours.
Okay, that's probably the technicality there then.
Okay.
If there's probable cause, you can hold for 24 hours. There you go. Law school on the fly, right here. We're political experts, not legal experts. All right. I really appreciate that. That was awesome that you brought that on. All right, let's go back to this. So speaking of the law, let's talk about the law a little bit. This happens to be illegal, at least from our interpretation of the statutes.
It seems pretty clear, though.
I think it's pretty clear. Yeah. So they're targeting young children here. This is a fundraiser hosted by what is this? St. Cloud Pride? That's the name of the organization?
Yep.
They're hosting a fundraiser at the Best Western Kelly Inn. Maybe we should Google the Best Western Kelly Inn and find their phone number. I think we should be placing some calls to the Best Western Kelly Inn and talking about what you're doing, because actually this seems to be an illegal activity, and we'll get into that here. But let's go down to the scroll down a little bit more. Once again, actionforliberty.com if you want to follow it. Go down just a little further. The Eventbrite page right here. What does it say, William? What are they trying to do?
Let's see here. I actually have a light block in my way here, so.
Oh, sorry. Should I pull this up here?
Yeah, if you want to read it.
See, I was like, hey, William wrote the story. I don't want to keep stealing his show.
William wrote the story. He should probably know what it's about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't have the
not very well prepared today, are we, William? It says drag brunch tips. Okay, this is on the Eventbrite page. Let's see. Let's go ahead and click on the Eventbrite. So we got the Eventbrite page link on there, just so you can see we're not making this up here.
Yep.
Because we're clearly not fake news, unlike CNN. Scroll down so you can see it on the page. We're going to scroll down right there. Okay.
So yeah,
dress up in your pride gear if you want. All are welcome. Bring plenty of dollar bills so you can tip the performers. They work hard to create these characters for you. Show them your appreciation by tipping. Do I need to explain to you guys what tipping means here? Do you understand it? And by the way, they use the dollar bills, $1 bills.
Well, it's just like how you tip strippers. Not that I would ever do that, of course.
William said it. That's what goes on here.
You heard it here first. William doesn't tip his strippers.
Everyone knows what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, well, you put it in the waistline, or you put it in the
breastal region. We're neither legal scholars nor biologists.
Yeah,
although we know more biology than
I know it from pop culture, not firsthand experience.
We know more about biology than all the Democrats because And by the way, yesterday, and this is our new thing on Twitter, Governor Tim Walz tweets out how he stands up for women's rights, and we tweet back, "What is a woman?" They say it all the time. What is this thing that has rights that you keep referring to? They can't answer that question. Great documentary, by the way. And it was free. I think it still might be free on Twitter. Bring plenty of dollar bills. Okay, so I read that. Note, we'll have $1 bills on hand to make change, too. Sing along and interact with our talented drag kings and queens. Take pictures and have fun. So we had a big conversation in the show prep today about what drag kings are. I guess I'm just not too aware of that. I've never really seen anything. And then somehow we got into conversation about football after that. And then here is the poison pill. Consent is mandatory. So this is what they're writing on their page. Consent is mandatory. Please make sure our performers are respected by not touching, grabbing, hugging, etc. unless you ask first.
Mm-hmm.
Now on the Eventbrite, does it show the ages on the Eventbrite?
It does.
Scroll up.
I mean, it's still in that initial thing, 4 to 12.
You see there, right there, $15 for 4 to 12-year-olds. So they got two brackets. It's $30 for 13 plus. Is that 13 plus $30? Yep. Wow, what kind of crazy people these are? You're full charge if you're 13 plus, and then if you're 4 to 12, $15. They get discounted rate for children.
I do think this is kind of funny because that's, usually it's like kid pricing and adult pricing, and to them, you're an adult if you're 13 years or older.
Well, is that the age that they can transition in the state, or is there any age?
No, apparently not.
I think now it's any age.
Yeah, no age limit.
I mean, it was like kind of ambiguous before, but I think they've like full on said you can come here and get your gender transition surgery or hormones or whatever.
The weird thing to me is that nowhere on here does it talk about like kids need to have an accompanying adult or anything like that. I haven't seen any of that anywhere. I haven't looked super closely at it though.
Yeah, I do. I also think it's funny when they talk about the consent aspect. Consent is important. You need to ask before you touch the performers. Consent's not important when it comes to minors, apparently.
Yeah,
according to these people. But
okay, so and neither can a minor consent, right?
Right.
All right, so we dug into this, and there's two laws here at play. Statute 609-352. Go back to the article here, Dawson. Minnesota Statute 609-352 and 617.246. 609-352 says, prohibited act, a person 18 years of age or older who solicits a child or someone the person reasonably believes is a child to engage in sexual conduct with intent to engage in sexual conduct is guilty of a felony and may be sentenced as provided in the subdivision. I think you found it was like 10 years, right? And then it defines what sexual conduct is. Did you not put that in the article?
I told you I put the sexual performance definition in there.
Where's that?
It's right under the state statute there.
Maybe I don't have an did I just not have an updated one on my screen? Where is it?
It's right under the
at the bottom,
the legal
right?
text
on
there.
TV.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Like, here's what's okay. Yeah,
That's why I bolded it there.
Yeah, here's what's important. Well, so there's a couple spaces I caught. I was like looking in this one area. Whatever. Here's what's important. Statute 617-246 defines sexual performance as any play, dance, or other exhibition presented before an audience or for the purpose of visual or mechanical reproduction that uses a minor to depict actual or simulated sexual conduct as defined by the clause. Once again, they're encouraging tipping, and I think you guys know this. We don't need to show the video, but we got the video. We broke the story, or not broke the story. I always like to say break the story. I don't know how many stories we actually break, but talked about the story where they had a drag performer at the Capitol, and of course they're gyrating their hips, they're sticking their butt out. If there's tips involved, one would believe that then there's actual physical touch here.
I don't even did that say you had to be physically touching them?
No, it doesn't say that.
No. Can you pull up that definition again? It said the word simulating, right? I mean, it could easily fall under that
even
definition.
Just like twerking or whatever these people do. Like that would fall under the definition as long as minors are present.
Yeah, I can't
read
that.
And I agree with what you're saying there, but it's just like
you
don't even need that. You just the fact that there's no confusion if they're actually physically touching.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be these sick parents that are going to like encourage their child. They're going to go up, give them $1. And
that is like mind-boggling that any parent would do that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even? I don't understand it.
Well, because these people are sick.
I
They're an
know.
occult. They're crazy. 617-246 says use of a minor is unlawful. So there's two statutes at play. Is unlawful for a minor to promote, employ, use, or permit minor to engage in or assist others to engage minors in posing or modeling alone or with others in any sexual performance or pornographic work. Obviously, I assume the pornographic work doesn't come play here, but with others in any sexual performance. And then, yes, you wrote that it's guilty of a felony and maybe sentenced to imprisonment for not more than 10 years. Okay, so we know that this is unethical. We know this is immoral. We know this is disgusting. So what kind of parent would even bring a child to it? It's criminal. And Best Western Cali in St. Cloud is likely going to be hosting an illegal activity on Sunday morning. And I'm really curious, and you put in this article the number to the Stearns County Sheriff's Office about stopping this thing. Now, this is the stuff the left is outraged on.
And this is a swing district. Eric Putnam, this was one of the closest elections for the state Senate. So, the fact that they think that they can do that in a swing district, I mean, hopefully it just, goes back to bite them in the rear end. So
actually, good point. We should be lighting Eric Putnam's number up on this one. Eric Putnam, we need a statement from Eric Putnam on this thing.
We do.
Yeah.
Throw his number up there.
Because I happen to know a senator nearby that's outraged by this thing and has probably contacted the sheriff already on it.
We have a $20 Rumble rant from Napkinator79. Says, lurking while working. Keep up the great shows.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, I know a lot of people work at this time of day. So, if you just want to keep us on one screen as you're plugging away at work, if you can do that, you don't need to engage 100% all the time with the show, but we do appreciate it. So thank you. Is K-Wall and T-Wall not here today?
I actually have not seen a comment from them yet.
No. How dare they? Taking a day off?
I know it's your favorite part of the show when they chime in.
I think if Tucker didn't join us, I wouldn't know what to do.
We'd have to do a welfare check on Tucker if he didn't join.
Oh man, yeah.
Laser Jim 56 says, point the laws out to St. Cloud Police.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Reminds me of the South Park episode where Cartman joins NAMBLA. They were joking about NAMBLA, National Association of Man-Boy Love Associations, and they were joking about that in the 90s. This is not new, by the way. It just went into hiding, and now it's like resurfacing its head. And we broke the story. That's a story we broke finally.
I was going to say, did we actually?
Yeah, finally. The pedophilia language in the Democrats' omnibus bill that basically says that pedophilia is a sexual orientation that can be protected by the Minnesota Human Rights Act. So this is the thing. This is why this is such a big issue. I see these people going, oh, you snowflakes, you see a rainbow and you guys all get up your panties up in a bunch. And, because they're referencing the boycotts of Target, all that stuff. It's like, no, what really we have a problem with right now is what you're doing to the damn children. That's why it's different. That's why this year's Pride Month, we're like, we've had enough. And thank God to the Gays for Groomers. I don't know if they're an organization.
Gays Against Groomers.
Sorry, Gays Against Groomers. Sorry. I don't know if it's an organization or it's just a Twitter account, but at least there's some people in the community, whatever the hell that means, the community, speaking out about this nonsense. Because it's one thing for you to have a sexual relationship with another adult person of the same sex, okay? I might have some personal feelings on that. I am not going to opine on it. Go live your life. Do what you want. It's just a different thing when you start saying, well, men aren't men and women aren't women, or a man can be a woman. And they actually say, like, literally birthing people in language of law now. They're saying birthing people instead of mothers or women, right? Yeah. People with people who menstruate, individuals who menstruate. That's what we have a problem with is you start changing you actually are science deniers. That's what we have a problem with. And then you change the stuff. And then we really have a problem when Target's got a display right as you come in and it's got children's stuff on it because we see what you're doing. You're indoctrinating our children. And we really have a problem when you bring it into our damn schools. That's where we really have a problem. And I feel bad for the children here of these sick parents that will bring them to these drag shows. I don't know what's wrong with these people. I'm a parent. I've got a 6-year-old. I got a 2-year-old. I got an 8-year-old. I don't let them watch R-rated movies. You don't put sexualized images in front of them. You don't put violent images I don't have the best mouth. You know, I can be a bit of a potty mouth. I clean it up a little bit for the show. Time to time, I slip up. Don't try to. I almost never slip up at home because I got little children. That's what you do. You protect children, protect the innocence of children. And these sickos, they're doing everything that should be just for adult entertainment in the privacy of their homes or in the privacy of a club or whatever, and they're putting it right in front of children.
I wouldn't be entertained by that. I don't know if you could even call that adult entertainment.
Well, I mean, it clearly is. It's always been a thing, you know.
No, I know. It's just like, what's the because like these are big on like college campuses. These drag events. I've never understood why. Like, what's the appeal to going and watching these things?
You tell us in the comment section here. We don't know. I'm puzzled now one too. I'm not.
It's just weird, like the draw and like the culture that's formed around drag shows, and like they're even doing TV shows about drag shows now and drag. Yeah. It's just weird to me. I don't know.
I find it interesting because like so I have been to a few drag shows during college. Because
all right, we do have an expert, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it. Yeah, what were they like?
I'm deep state Dawson. I have to go everywhere to find the good stuff. But the thing that sucks is that it is really weird. I don't like the feeling of being in those situations, but like just when it comes down to like how cool some of the costumes can be, it's really cool. Super wasted on what it is used for, I think, but like you'll get super sick performances out of it. Unfortunately, it's like
you do get very sick performances out of it. I think you're right there.
Yeah. See?
Well, I noticed it's like
yeah.
I noticed it's like a thing for younger generations. It seems to be more hip and cool.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, like I think Dawson's just saying put the clothes on women, right? You're just saying like the outfits are great, put it on women.
Their outfits.
But what is a woman?
Well, we know.
Tucker91 says drag show Dawson.
Drag show Dawson. Oh,
that's a good.
And Bad at Harry says he went because
it works for this show. Most of the time, Deep State's the better one.
It is too bad, but the costumes are specifically made to look good on women, but they're not worn by women, so it's like.
Well, I think you're just closed-minded, you bigot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the left thinks you are. I mean, that clearly what you're saying is so bigoted, and you're the most woke of all of us.
Okay, Wall's here. He gave us $10 and said cheers.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, there we go.
That's all you gotta do. You gotta shame him. Where the hell are you, K-Wall? Oh, there you go, $10. Thank you, Rumble Rants.
Showing up for the.
I was telling somebody the other day. I go, we make money doing this show. Like we don't even appeal, and people just donate. They do Rumble Rants. I guess they
make them feel guilty.
I half think it's because they know I'll make fun of them a little bit, you know. And William reminds me, maybe you should thank them for their Rumble Rants. They're donating. It's like, thank you. I do appreciate it, by the way.
Yep.
It's kind of fun. It's maybe it's kind of like me with what's that pay app? Venmo.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put like $100, $200 in Venmo like 4 or 5 years ago, and I just I almost treat it like it's not even real money. It's like Monopoly money, because I end up like I've never withdrawn money. I've never deposited new money in it. So it's like me. Let's say I go on a camping trip with a buddy, and he picked up the campsite and the firewood. So then I'll just, half of what that was, Venmo it, right? And by the way, I never Venmo what the real expense is. I always make up some funny thing like, thanks for your 1984 figure skating VHS, because Venmo is all public.
Yeah. You can hide it, actually.
But I'm too immature. I have to have fun with this thing, right? So I treat it like it's fake money, right? And so like I'm always going back and forth, with people. And there was a time where I was in Venmo and they don't show the dollar amount. So I would send my buddy like 25 cents. And I would say, thank you for your Britney Spears album or something like that, or thank you for your, whatever book on some embarrassing thing. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, I don't know. People
Queerfully and Wonderfully Made by Lee Finke.
Chris Finke before Tucker corrects you.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
All right.
Tucker threw in, I don't know if we're ready for a new story, but Tucker said, I'm supposed to remind William to bring this story up before the show is over. And then he linked something from the Post-Millennial about DeSantis. Let me click on it.
Oh yeah, I did want to comment on this because I actually responded to Tucker on in the Rumble comments on the actual video. I don't know if we're ready to talk about this or not.
No, go ahead. No, ahead. Yeah, I mean, we'll keep you updated on the St. Cloud thing. I think it should get canceled. So Stearns County Sheriff's Office, and I mean, call the Best Western Kelly in. I thought about doing this live on air. Maybe we should. But literally, they're going to host some criminal activity. This is
Hey, we
disgusting.
And go to actionforliberty.com and share that article too.
Dover Dan gave us $20. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Dover Dan.
Said you guys rock. Really enjoy your shows.
Oh,
Thanks,
we
Dover
really
Dan.
appreciate you guys. Well, our show would be pointless if you guys didn't watch it. That's the great thing. It's like we wouldn't do this anymore. You guys tune in. You apparently like to hear us talk. At least Jesse. Most people like hearing Jesse talk, I guess. And he's the one saying the least amount of words today, apparently. He's just like a...
Well, I don't want to.
His head all the time. Trump.
No, I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to say something about some legal case that I don't have the information for. So sometimes it's better to not
you
say.
Will speak out of turn all the time with DeSantis.
Well,
like,
yeah, that's DeSantis.
Connecting Neuralink to DeSantis. Like
connecting Guantanamo Bay prisoner treatment to DeSantis, and you're just but this is too far.
If he's responsible, he's responsible. You know
what?
I don't
really
hold any punches back on Ron.
What was really incredible was you trying to link the congressional baseball field shooter to Ron.
Yeah,
DeSantis.
that
one was a stretch.
That one was a stretch.
Well, that's the one that I think is the most obvious. That's
okay.
I think that's the most obvious problem with Ron DeSantis.
The Trump
go
sending
shoot
their
up that
best.
baseball game. They're right over there. That's Ron's style.
Yeah.
New of 27 says, call the Best Western on air. Laura says, light him up.
All right, well, we might get to that at the end. F11 on the show notes, I have to bring up this story. I just posted it's a Snopes article. So let's go to, who had the next topic?
Are we not going to do
the post-millennium. All right, we'll get Jesse's comment on that. Because, I think I kind of ignored
Wait, no, we need my comment on it. Because he's making
Yeah, I know,
the
but we got to
accusation.
post up that post-millennium. Do we have the article?
What are you
I don't know.
about?
Where was this post-millennium article?
It's a comment.
Well, they need a.
There is a link.
context.
It's in the comments from Tucker. Dawson, it's on Rumble if you want to pull it up.
Don't worry about pulling it up. I'll just read it here. This is from the post-millennial, right? I thought I had it in my email.
Well, basically, the gist of the article, I didn't even read it. I just looked at the headline.
Exactly. So you're not going to do it justice. I'm going to give you the headline. I'm going to read a sentence or two, and then you can respond. It says, revealed, DeSantis campaign backed by a Moderna lobbyist with ties to CCP. Well,
See,
that's
and
not a loaded
See,
headline.
you can do
That's
this
not
with any
good.
presidential campaign. You can go through their campaign finance records, and you'll find someone unsavory in there. And then you can blow it up and make it a big story.
Can I read a little bit of the article first before you?
I mean,
this is
sure,
a
but
great
you pretty much
listener, this is our
summed up the
number
whole
one fan,
article right
And you
there.
just want to trash him already? Maybe there's something to it.
Hey, you guys are on the same team.
Came under fire on Tuesday after it was revealed that a fundraiser event for his presidential campaign will be hosted by a lobbyist for vaccine manufacturer Moderna, Daily Mail reports. The fundraiser is set to take place in Washington, D.C. next month and comes at the same time the Republican governor has called for a grand jury investigation into Moderna over their COVID-19 vaccines and manufacturing of puberty blockers.
Wait, did you say hosted by this guy?
Ron DeSantis is hosting it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, it's hosted by a Moderna lobbyist.
Wow.
And comes at the same time the Republican governor has called for a grand jury investigation into Moderna. So one
that's
would
not
allude,
some small little donation. That's,
Yeah.
I'm throwing a big party, inviting all of my friends, all the big money rollers, and that's, that's
it
more
is the
than
thing we hate. We called out on Michelle Benson when she was running for governor. She actually got lobbyist money from Pfizer or something like
I
that.
do remember that.
It was also revealed that the Moderna lobbyist Mark Lampkin has represented Chinese-owned semiconductor company Fujian Jinhong, which brewed the perfect storm for the Trump campaign to continue their allegations that DeSantis is a globalist. And, this is just a lobby. I mean, this is the problem and I'm sure Trump takes a lot of lobbyist money, FYI, but this lobbyist clearly will work for anybody. China, Moderna, doesn't matter. So anyhow, Tucker wants your response there, William. An official Minnesota spokesperson for Ron DeSantis, for Guantanamo Bay, Meatball Ron, DeSanctimonious. There you go, William Beck.
More
What
Ron
do you have to say?
DeSantis.
I think for legal reasons, I can't say I'm the official. Minnesota
You didn't say it.
spokesperson.
I said it. I'm joking. I actually kind of like Ron DeSantis. I'm just playing a little part because I like to get on Jesse's side too.
I mean,
sometimes.
look, you can say that this guy's associated with Ron DeSantis if you want, but by that same logic, I can say that Trump's associated with Anthony Fauci and John Bolton.
Are they endorsing him? Are they supporting him?
Well, actually, Trump endorsed
course
Anthony
they're not.
Fauci and John Bolton by hiring them and keeping them
Oh,
on.
you mean the same Anthony Fauci that Ron DeSantis was praising up until
When?
Trump left office?
When?
Oh,
What-
dude,
what did he say?
when Trump was in office.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. You can't deny reality. I mean, there are quotes out there of Ron DeSantis saying
Name one.
Anthony Fauci is doing a great job.
Name one.
Google it, man. You can sit
You're
there
the
and
one
deny
no,
it.
No, you're the one making the claim. So I'm not.
Well,
I'm not
I-
denying it.
I mean,
I'm just
dude,
asking for
how am I
evidence.
supposed to prove it?
Just pull it up on your phone.
Okay, well, I can do that, but
Right now.
you're sitting there denying it.
I'm not. I'm asking for
Calm
proof.
down, William. Calm down. Calm down. I'll find you the
Yeah,
evidence,
your
and then
face
you can
is-
tell me you're wrong.
My face isn't getting red here.
Okay, man. I'll tell you. Well, you don't have the truth either on your side, so
Uh-huh.
Okay,
let's
I'm
find
gonna
this.
give William time to think about his response because Brad Ganser gave us $20.
No, I gave my response.
Well, okay. Well, anyways, Brad Ganser gave us $20 and said, "Is there any way we can donate to Maddie's family?" Which
Well,
I'm
thank
not
you,
sure.
Brad. I appreciate that. Let me get back to you on that. I'll find out if there's a fund. What happened initially in Maddie's case, once again, went missing. Was it March 31st? I, for some reason, thought 29th, and I just forgot. But you.
So that's what Bring Me the
31st
News
is-
said
yeah.
yesterday when I was reading their
Oh,
article.
well, okay. Fake news. Totally fake
Fake news, William, back at it because here we are on CNN Politics. Ron DeSantis praised Anthony Fauci for COVID response in spring 2020
Let's use
for
our
doing
inside voices,
a
Jesse.
really doing a good job. You told me it didn't happen. I mean, here it is.
That's interesting.
Can you
I'll need to look-
apologize?
Apologize for what?
You said I was a liar. You said that that's not true.
I didn't
proved
say
it.
you were a liar.
Well, you can apologize anytime now.
I'm not going to apologize. I'll need to look more into that, but I do know that Trump refused to fire Anthony Fauci when he was given multiple opportunities.
Yeah, and
he
then
also
Ron
praised him
DeSantis
in-
didn't
Well, I
say
thought
anything
Trump
until
couldn't
Trump
fire
was
Anthony
gone.
Fauci.
And let's say
No, he
Trump
totally could.
Let's
Are you
say
sure
Trump
about that?
fired him. Let's say Trump
He's
fired
a member
him.
of the executive branch. Why couldn't he fire
I don't
him?
think he is. I think he's like, first of all, he's like the highest paid government agent or government personnel, and I thought he couldn't. What I would
No, he
what-
can be fired.
Well,
that's
I'll
a
look it
fact.
up, but I think what I was really critical of Trump for is he kept giving him a microphone. That's the problem. I
When
thought
he gave
couldn't
him
fire
an award too for
Okay.
his
because you know Trump can't
distinguished
fire a
service.
Supreme Court justice, so
right.
there are people.
But
that he
let's
can't
say
fire.
Trump fired Fauci. As soon as Biden gets in there, Fauci is back. So yeah, we maybe would have stopped him for 2 weeks. And
Well,
you
then
know,
why
like
did-
I was saying, Ron DeSantis didn't call for any of this until Trump was gone, until Trump was out of the White House. DeSantis never called for removing Fauci, so this is just an opportunistic play to pretend like he was better on COVID when DeSantis wasn't.
This is according to ABC News. Can Trump fire Fauci? Not easily, but he could make it messy. This is from November 2nd, 2020. At a rally Sunday in Opelika. What's Opelika, Florida? I have never heard that.
I don't know about that either.
It's big enough to have a rally, apparently. That's stretched late into the night. President Donald Trump entertained the raucous crowd with the idea that he might fire Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, after election. I don't know if I want to read the rest of the story because, once again, CNN thinks that Mike Pence didn't have the power to send the electors back to the states.
Right.
So it's like, do
Yeah,
I
wait
even
a second.
trust
You
the
just
media?
quoted CNN. Hold on.
No, I'm quoting
No,
ABC.
I quoted Ron DeSantis.
But you
CNN quoted Ron DeSantis. But
I wouldn't use CNN personally.
Oh
but hey, if
my
that's-
God,
if
man!
That's what you want to do.
This guy just won't accept something unless it's exactly what he wants to believe.
It's
Go
funny
for
how
Dan.
you
Go,
talk about
Jesse,
yourself
go.
there,
Roxy
Jesse.
says, Roxy 1956 says, King Jesse, love it.
Thank you.
I really feel bad for
I-
William. Now I'm going to start
that
taking
is
William's side. Such an endeavor, however, would be seriously complicated, if not impossible in the near term, even for a norm-busting president. Wow, I've never heard that nickname. Norm-busting. That's pretty
I
funny.
kind of like that.
That is. Fauci is a career civil servant, not a political appointee, and is protected by law from political retaliation. Maybe we found a real big problem with our government right now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a civil servant. Really? Really? Okay. If the president wanted to fire Fauci, he would have to claim some kind of performance problem or misconduct.
I think lies.
I don't know. Yeah, lying to Congress.
Yeah.
You know, of course, that gets messy. Well, so that's probably the point, is it gets messy, right?
Right.
A tall order for a doctor has served 6 presidents, is highly regarded among public health experts. There's the other problem. So, among Fauci's fiercest defenders is his own boss, Dr. Francis Collins, director of the National Institutes of Health. Yeah, I mean,
Well, so the
I guess we have to
NIH
look into that more, you know. That I remember hearing about this and that it wasn't possible for him to fire him. But once again, I think the claim should be you shouldn't have given him the microphone. That's the problem. So even if you couldn't fire him, don't give him the microphone.
Well, and look, we can talk about Trump's COVID response all day, or DeSantis's if we're being fair. But I do think we should get back to the Maddi Kingsbury thing.
No, we're not on the Maddi Kingsbury thing. Why are we?
We just completely ignored Brad Ganser's.
No, I'm getting an answer for you, Brad. I've already reached
okay.
out. Yeah, I reached out to get you an answer. The question is, can we donate to the family? And what happened in Maddie's case, whenever that, I think it was March, so we'll say March 31st, there was initial big reaction by the community in Winona. God, great. I grew up near Winona. I always loved Winona. We used to go to their water park because it was pretty big, in the area. And then you just see the community come together in Winona, right? Oh, so awesome. They ended up, I think, having to encourage people not to give anything more because they had so much. That's why. Like literally they couldn't take in more water bottles and stuff for searches. So this is where they're asking for donations. People have been sending checks here in the name of Madeline Kingsbury and her children. Not sure if they gave away to well, that would be the thing, is to give money to the children,
Yeah.
So it's to Merchants Bank, benefit account for Madeline Kingsbury. This is coming from Carmel. Carmel, I'm sure Carmel doesn't mind me reading her text on air. She doesn't. Trust me. What should I send this to you? I'm going to email this to you, Dawson, so we can put the graphic up.
Okay.
Let me just do this real live. And we got to end the show in about 7-ish minutes because we're going to do our, what is it called, Twitter Spaces?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can we get the Twitter? So you guys told me it didn't work when we posted the link in the comments last time, so let's just throw the Twitter handle up there. It's action_liberty. We'd love to have you join us after the show. Twitter Spaces is like a big conference call, and we're just going to kind of have our post-show breakdown. So if you have more questions or you have a comment that wasn't answered, we'd love to talk about it at the end of the show here.
Brad Ganser says, why wouldn't DeSantis applaud the makers of the Trump vaccine? He said, why wouldn't DeSantis applaud the makers of the Trump
he did.
vaccine?
No, DeSantis did because he went out and got it himself. He went and got the booster as well.
So did Trump.
I'm not saying otherwise. I'm saying DeSantis, he claims to be one way about the vaccine, then he gets it, and then he gets the booster, then he hides it,
Well, no,
it's just a political
DeSantis
game.
has been very consistent about it, and look, I don't fault people for getting the vaccine
Me
initially
neither.
because, that's their personal choice. But a lot of information has come out since then that's given people pause. And what DeSantis did with his Department of Health is that he launched an investigation into Moderna and Pfizer in regard to this, and Trump is still praising the vaccine at this point.
Yeah, it's a cute political move by DeSantis. It's not going anywhere.
All right, did you get that email there, Dawson, with the graphic? It's just an image. What I'm learning is avoid the GoFundMe accounts. They have no control or access to any of the money that goes on GoFundMe. I'm not trying to say that the GoFundMe is fraudulent. Just maybe someone else set
And
it up.
GoFundMe takes a little bit of it themselves, right? The corporation, So
this is from family members. Merchants Bank account. It's a benefit account. So it's the benefit account for Madeline Kingsbury. So it's a setup to help find Madeline. Obviously, that's in the past tense now, but to assist her children. At some point, you're just like, what can we do for the damn children? At this point, oh my God. Ugh. It's one of the reasons I coach kids sports is if you have absent parent, you got at least a role model or a father figure or somebody, a good coach, that can touch that kid's life. So yeah, you hope that happens there. So there you go. That's the that's where they would, and we could get you a link to that too. This is just a screenshot, I guess, here. But the account 0261 Merchants Bank, and it's called Benefit Account for Madeline Kingsbury. Let's do. I want to bring up the Snopes, and then we're gonna have to cut this off. So we're gonna be on Twitter Spaces after this. Did we pop up the handle for our Twitter account yet?
Yep.
Okay, and give us a follow while you're over there. It should be one of the first posts. You'll see the Twitter Spaces. Just press the set a reminder button. It works best on the phone. You can join from your laptop, but people have had the best experiences on the phone or a tablet or something.
And what Twitter Spaces is like, it's like a conference call. And so if you want to talk, we can let you talk and do it. And then, but you can see like the people that are in it. It's not like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's still pretty cool. It's just a hang. We did like about a half hour last time.
Yeah.
We didn't actually know how many people were into it because for some reason we weren't able to see the whole audience. So we thought it was just, we just thought it was two guys. Brad was in there, and who's the other guy?
Jim.
Jim was in there too. So, so I think I don't know what we did wrong, and people had problems going to it. So just go to the handle action or at what is it? At Action Liberty? What is
Action
it?
_Liberty.
Action _Liberty.
And look, hey, we can have the Trump versus DeSantis conversation there too. I'm always open to being convinced. I'm not 100% in any camp.
I want to just bring up this article. Did you get the Snopes article real quick? And then we're going to have to sign off here. Did a church... I want to bring this up because we've talked about this on the show.
I've seen this.
how people go to Snopes and the fact finders and all that stuff. Snopes did this thing on did a church that embraces LGBTQ plus people burn down after a lightning strike. So scroll down here real quick. And the ledge here, this is the claim. This is how they always do it. A viral tweet, video burning fire received thousands of engagements. The caption of the tweet read, "Woke LGBTQ plus church gets struck by lightning and burns to the ground." Keep scrolling down. Facts and subjective thinking. Do you guys see what's missing here?
I actually can't see the screen.
Well, it's not saying true, partially true, false.
Yeah, does it?
Well,
yeah.
Snopes doesn't do it on here. All they do is they basically go facts and subjective thinking. The video and the tweet. Oh, great. Thanks for the pop-up ad. Facts and the video in this tweet was captured on June 2nd. Okay, scroll down. First, the tweet claimed that the church. So basically, they go into the fact that this church actually did burn down, and yes, it was actually LGBTQ plus church.
But wait, it doesn't at the bottom. It doesn't have that barometer.
No, scroll down. Yeah, keep going. So now Snopes, instead of just giving us the true or not, they're just going to put a bunch of words on here, assuming you don't read.
Well, and that's the thing.
But someone's gonna be like, "No, that's not true. It's on Snopes."
No, people just go for the headlines. Same with PolitiFact and all that. Like, debunked.
Yeah. So
and
now apparently you got to get your news from Snopes. Not that that's inaccurate news, but like literally, they can't deny because it's true. No, I'm not saying it's an act of God. It probably is, but it's not saying that. It just happens to be true, and they don't want to put that on there. So there you go. There's your fact checking. That'll come handy. We'll use that again, and when we reference political fact checking. We got time for one last comment, then we got to sign off, and then we'll join you on Twitter Spaces.
I can just Brad Ganser, we can ask. Well, this might be a question for the Twitter Spaces, but he said, "Did Jesse get the Trump jab?"
I can answer that quickly. No,
Yeah. Oh,
didn't
okay.
get a single COVID vaccine at all.
None of us have. Bridget, she was found because she was on a flight, and she was talking about how she would refuse to get the jab.
Well, I wasn't wearing the mask.
Oh,
Back when
sorry.
you were
Yeah, it was a
crazy for
well,
not- yeah.
the non-mask wearers are like the overlap between non-mask wearers and
I know.
yeah. William was in school and was able to carefully.
They didn't make it easy, but I was able to continue going to school.
Jesse, we found him to bring into Minnesota because he dropped out of law school, first year law school, because they required a jab. So he did only one semester. And then me, what the hell am I going to get a jab for? I never fell for any of their bullshit. That's the thing. We'll never have a reckoning here. Apparently, they just forget about everything that they did to us. But quite frankly, I never fell for any of the shit. And Action for Liberty led the whole way. And that's like if you watched our program from last Tuesday and this erroneous CFB complaint by these Republican Party insiders against us, these assholes, they were all on board with Governor Walz locking down our state. They did absolutely nothing. Senate Republicans never brought up a vote to get rid of Governor Walz's emergency powers until in June when we forced him in the first special session. So, yeah, we've been leading on that issue for a long time.
I did.
Right.
I did get the jab.
I didn't want to bring that up. You don't need to give up your
That's okay. I'm fine. I'm doing pretty
Dawson's not political, by the way, and I'm sure if he was working here at the time, he might learn some things, but
Died unexpectedly, Dawson. Or died suddenly, right? That's the
Oh
term.
God, don't say that. I feel
Died
like
suddenly,
someone's gonna jinx
Dawson.
us.
Sorry,
Go
man.
to Twitter. Put up the handle again. Put up the handle at action_liberty.
I better see all 100 of you over there in our Twitter spaces.
Yes.
If you don't have an account, make an account.
There
It's
you
gonna
go.
be
I wanna
fun. We
see
want
you
to
there.
talk to you guys.
It's gonna be fun. We'll go for at least
you have
30
nothing
minutes
else
unless
going
it's
on.
entertaining. We got to sign off. Thank you guys. We'll see you back on Tuesday. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Oh my gosh! Hold on, you did that way too fast.
Oh, I did that too fast for Dawson. Wasn't ready for the outro there.
No,
That was a
man.
fast
oh, no.
closing
Phil,
right there.
Fill some more time.
Okay, we got it. We got it.
Did you hear the one about? Go ahead.